Hey, real quick, everybody, want to give a shout to our friends over at betonline.ag. I know the NFL's over, the Super Bowl's done. We got Major League Baseball, NHL, March Madness coming around the corner, which to me is the greatest postseason sporting event of all time and what I like to wager on the most. So head over to betonline.ag as soon as you can. Tell them Jboy sent you, whether it's prop bets, whether it's parlays, whether you want to go straight up, or whether you're into teasers, pleasers, whatever you like to do. They have it over there, and the online casino is open 24 hours a day. There's always something going down at betonline.ag. So check our friends out over there and tell them Jboy sent you.
You are listening to the Jboy Show, your number one source for Auburn and the SEC.
My goal was to run through his soul and grab his heart when I run through his soul.
Kurt, Nate, Coach Staff, those are memories.
I think we've established ourselves as, I think, the premier conference in college football.
Now, the SEC is better at the top. It's better in the middle.
The Southeastern Conference remains the premier conference.
Now takes the snap. Looking for the receiver. He's got Lutz and Kirkland. Touchdown, Auburn!
When you think about it, it's always been the SEC and everybody else trying to catch it.
I think this is probably the best league from a competitive venue standpoint.
They have the most capable teams. You just look at those programs, the way they recruit, how they invest.
Snap to Burrow. 3 steps. Fires. Back corner of the end zone. Over the shoulder catch. Did he hold on? He did. Justin Jefferson. Touchdown, Tiger.
And now, your host, Jboy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition, I'll say a Heisman edition of the Jboy Show. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you're staying warm out there if you're getting hit by this cold winter storm that's moving through, but very excited to bring on a guy today that's competed at the highest level. He's won at the highest level, played in one of the most intuitive offenses, really started out kind of the spread with Coach Spurrier, and he's doing great things with Desire Street Ministries. We're going to talk about that, the Wuerffel Cup, the Wooden Citizenship Cup as well, and that's former Heisman winner Danny Wuerffel. Danny, I really appreciate you joining us, man.
Jake, good to be with you. Congrats on your show and how it's growing. I'm sure you're enjoying that.
Man, it's a wild ride. I'm just trying to, kind of keep my nose down to the path and keep doing what got us here, and just very grateful, man. I appreciate that. But Danny, I want to start because, you were a part of something in that Florida offense with Coach Spurrier that was really a trendsetter with what you guys did, attacking space, being able to spread it out, even going empty at the goal line, getting under center and sneaking it in, which was absolutely genius back then. Before we get into all the accolades and stuff like that, can you talk about, because you're a guy that started 4 years. It's not like you came in and sat down. You came in and just started balling. But what was it like being a part of really one of the first offenses? Not an experiment, because experiment, you don't know if it's going to work. And I know Coach Spurrier and you guys knew it was going to work. Can you just talk about being a part of that?
Well, that was really one of the big reasons I went to Florida, was the chance to play for Coach Spurrier. He had so much success coaching at Duke and already at Florida. Shane Matthews was putting up crazy numbers. And, when I grew up as a kid, what football was for the most part was on the playground playing catch. And, a receiver runs down the field and you throw it out in front of him and you hope you throw it far enough to where he keeps running and catches it and doesn't have to stop. And, that was fun. And that's what he was doing. So that, the chance to go throw and do that. And I think what he was doing at the time, though, so many people were really, a lot of running, a lot of ball control, play action passing, and I think the real chess match was often in that front line of scrimmage and the front 7, and how do I get a better angle for this power run or a counter run? And he sort of just took that mindset and said, well, what coverage are they playing? Heck, we can get 2 guys down there running on a safety and put him in a bind, and let's do that. And so just a very very aggressive way of attacking downfield, looking deep routes first rather than looking for your shallow route to see if it's open. And it was really, really amazing, really fun to play for him. If you're a quarterback, that was the place to be.
Definitely. And, you talk about reading high to low. Was that something when you would, come up to the line of scrimmage, you're getting ready? I want to take our audience kind of in your helmet for a second. What were some things before the ball was snapped? Are you looking at, hey, is it too high? Is it one high? Now I'm going to look at the box. Or was it, listen, all right, it's one high. We know what we got. Let's go ahead and take a shot here.
So yeah, there's a couple different philosophies on offense, or a lot of them, I'm sure. But you can call a play that might be a decent play against any coverage. So like, no matter what coverage you get, you don't have to worry about it. You just sort of look for your first read. If he's open, you throw it. If not, your second, third, fourth, and you can design a play that won't ever probably be a terrible play, but might not ever be a great play. The other thing you could do is, if you knew exactly what the defense was playing, coverage-wise, I'm talking now, you could design a play that really puts them in a bind and gives you a great chance for success. But then you've got to know what defense they're playing. So I think what Spurrier was really, his philosophy was the second. He would want to figure out different ways to put pressure to where you knew what the defense was playing. And then he would predict what they were going to play and call a play to give you the best chance of success. And then the challenge for the quarterback was, you often got to the line of scrimmage and it wasn't that. So then you had to make an audible, you had to change, you had to read it. And then in some cases, you might have a combination on the right side against one defense and on the left, in case you don't know what you're getting till after the snap. But the point for really was to know what the defense is doing, and then really, put a pressure on the deepest defenders. So if there's 3 deep defenders, you've got seams kind of cutting through the middle. So, you might try to get a 4 vertical. If you got 2 deep safeties and 5 underneath defenders, and that's day one with Coach Spurrier. He'd draw the coverages and he'd draw circles where the spaces were. He's like, this is where grass is. This is where we're going to throw the ball. So that was his idea. And again, like we said, it was always high to low.
Yeah.
I mean, if you threw a 5-yard check down and he broke a tackle and got 12 yards, that's a good play. But if you missed a 15-yard dig route to get to that, that was a minus for you. Like, you always took the downfield throw if you had it, and then took the underneath throw if you didn't.
What was the coverage, Danny? And that's great insight. I appreciate you sharing that. What was the coverage that you thought that gave you the most trouble? Was there one that just they could disguise? I always hear from quarterbacks, a cloud 3 or roll 3 is the one I always get. Was there a coverage that you saw that either a team disguised very well or kind of gave you guys problems with what you did? Because I turn on the film of you guys and it looks like somebody is always open. And again, from our eyes looking at the camera, you're able to see everything. The quarterback, it's almost impossible to see both sides of the fields at the same time. But is there one coverage that you were like, man, if I could eliminate one coverage, that'd be it?
I mean, that's really more situational. I mean, if you get a 3 cloud and it's 3rd and 15, there's not a lot of space anywhere to throw it to. So the key there is don't get in 3rd and 15.
There you go.
But, when I was a junior, we were running through a lot of teams, and then we played LSU, and they kind of played, a lot of teams do it now, but it was more of called a cover one free safety, and then everybody else was playing man-to-man coverage, but they would get up and kind of play outside leverage and force everything in. And we had some trouble, and by trouble we won 28-10, but that was tough. So Nebraska, when we played them in the Fiesta Bowl my junior year for the national title, they came and really played that defense well, and they just had a tremendous pass rush. Going into my senior year, that was sort of the buzz. Everyone's figured out the defense to stop Coach Spurrier was to play tight man-to-man coverage, outside leverage on all the receivers with the free safety for help. Well, that whole offseason, we practiced running slants and fades and just ate people's lunch the next year. I mean, just went on a tear doing that all different ways and formations. And that actually was so that was an example, maybe a good life example of something that started off giving you trouble, but ended up growing you to be better.
Yeah, no doubt. And Coach Spurrier is always a wizard of adjustments. And cover 1, that safety you can't bracket everybody with that high safety if you want. And that's a great point. But Danny, I do want to shift a little bit. And not a lot of guys come in, especially at the SEC level, especially at a place like Florida, and play as a freshman. when you were going out there for that first snap and all the work you had put in since you were a kid and going through the recruiting process, going through summer and fall camp and being the guy as a kid, really, what was it like for you jogging out there on that first play? Because I know you're a confident guy. Obviously, you wouldn't have won the job if you weren't confident, but just there had to be maybe a moment, or I know how focused you are, where you're running out there and saying, this is big time. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Did you go in the huddle and say, let's go, guys, I'm ready to go, looking at those big offensive linemen? How did that kind of go?
Well, I remember early on there, I threw an interception, and I thought the receiver had kind of run a wrong angle on his route. And as I was going to the sideline, I was curious if Coach Spurrier would sort of, who he's going to chew out. Somebody's going to get in trouble. And he said, Danny, it's not your fault. So, he goes, it's my fault for putting you in the game. So that was one of the early moments. Terry Dean was the starter my freshman year. He was a junior, and he's a fantastic player, real smart, gifted guy. Had some trouble early on against Kentucky, and I went in and ended up helping win the game in the last few seconds. So, my first start was the next week against Tennessee. And, I had the game face, I had the confident swagger, but I remember being inside just, scared to death. Heath Schuler, and we won that game and had a pretty good run. But I shared time kind of the rest of the year on and off with Terry. And then my sophomore year, Terry started the first half of the season and I started the second. So it was really more, as a young kid, for me, less about having a confidence, more just hoping to get to play. I was just excited when I got a chance to go in and try to do the best I could and keep it all together.
Yeah, it's got to be such a huge moment. And again, you handled it so well, ended up having a heck of a year, man. And I do want to ask, I always ask quarterbacks this when I get them on, because again, you've thrown a lot of great balls, thrown some bad ones, but is there a ball that you threw throughout your career, the one throw where you go, man, I dropped that one in there? Is there one you remember? It's like, that's the best throw. And again, it could be in the league or something like that, but is there a throw that stands out to Danny Wuerffel right now that you're like, man, that was a little witchcraft and wizardry?
Well, definitely wasn't in the league. If you did your homework, I didn't have very many great ones there. But
12 touchdowns, maybe one of those was it. I thought maybe
there's a few decent. So yeah, there's a couple that stand out to me. Probably the one that means the most was Chris Doring was and still is a great friend of mine. And we kind of together had that first touchdown against Kentucky that kind of got him on the map and me on the map my freshman year, and had a great connection. We were roommates. And so every Friday after our walkthrough, we would go down in the back of the end zone. He'd kind of run along the back of the end zone. I'd get around the 15-yard line or so, and we try to imitate, if you remember, the iconic play from Joe Montana to Dwight Clark years ago.
The catch.
And so he would run along the back of the end zone, and I'd run around and I'd throw it, usually aim about the same height as the goalpost, which is about 10 feet, and then he'd leap up there, like he was dunking a basketball, and try to catch it. And, if I was 11 feet, I missed him. And if I was 9 feet, we didn't like it because the defender might get it. So we practiced that. And then my junior year, his senior year against South Carolina, we were playing at South Carolina. I mean, the weather was freezing. And we got a situation. I ended up running towards my right, somewhere around the 10, 15-yard line. And I saw him in the back of the end zone. And there's, mess of people between me and him. But I just sort of kind of like turned off the switch of anything else and thought, there's Chris. No one else is there. Throw it at 10 feet. And, everybody jumps up. And then ball's just above their hands. He jumps up and catches it, gets 1 foot in. And so I think all those things together made me enjoy that touchdown and remember it the most.
That's fantastic. Chris Doring's a great friend of the show. We've had him on many times. He's a good buddy of mine and one of the best. And again, I'm sure it's one when you watched in the film, you and Coach Spurrier, and I'm sure Chris was like, yeah, that was nasty right there. That was good. The ones that just go over the outstretched fingertips, because that's how you planned it. And you guys worked on it. And not everybody sees that behind the scenes. They think, oh, man, that was just a fluke or something like that. No, you guys practiced that. You believed in each other, which obviously is the key there. And Chris came through for you like he always does. But, Danny, I want to ask, and again, I want to get to this unbelievable stuff you're doing with the ministries and all the accolades. But, winning the Heisman Trophy, it's something that in the sports world, even if you don't watch football, you know what the Heisman Trophy is. And it's something you grow up dreaming of getting. And so obviously, you get your invite and you go up there. Could you talk about just the process before the announcement, how excited, maybe nervous, and then you hear your name called, and forever, in 5,000 years from now, when we're flying around in cars and doing all this stuff, Danny Wuerffel will still be a Heisman Trophy winner. What did that mean to you? Because, I mean, it's for a player individually, it is the biggest award in college football that you can win.
Well, yeah, you said a lot of things there that are true. Looking back, a lot of it happened so fast at the time. It was almost like a blur. I mean, we were number one. We lost to Florida State. We came back and beat Alabama. And then award season started, and I was in New York for the National Football Foundation, and then back in Gainesville for finals, and I was in Louisville for the Johnny Unitas, and then in New York for the Heisman, and it was just like a whirlwind. So part of it was just trying to get from one moment to the next. But remembering the experience of being there, them calling my name, my parents and family. We got a limo and drove around New York and went to FAO Schwartz and went to different places as a family. That night in the lounge, when the musician left, my family is musically inclined. So I got on the piano, my mom started singing, and Charles Rogers and others got up, and we just started, it was just singing Lean on Me, just great. Wow. Great memories. The thing I'll point out, though, is Coach Spurrier's wife, Jerry. She came up to me and she said something at the time that I was like, okay, as a young boy, but she goes, look, this is all happening fast right now, and you have no idea all what it means. But as the years go by, you will recognize how significant this is in your life. And I think she's absolutely right that, no matter what happens, good or bad, you're still always known as a former Heisman Trophy winner. You could be in jail or be president and you'd still be probably known as former Heisman Trophy winner. And so what that has done in many ways, it's an incredible honor, an incredible platform. And it's a tool, an asset that you can use in any way you choose, for yourself, for others, for different things. And it's really, really helped me in all the different work that I'm trying to do in life to make the world better.
That's a great point. And was there a moment where you and Coach Spurrier, after you won it, with what you guys had been through your whole career? I mean, yeah, ups and downs. Y'all had a ton of ups. There wasn't a lot of downs, but, a couple. But just all the work you put in and all the time and all the lessons that you learned on the field and off the field from Coach Spurrier. And I'm sure he was hilarious. But was there a moment that you guys, just really, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. He was the driving coach. Like, that was the bulk of it. He wasn't trying to be like your grandfather, and he was pushing you to be better. That's what he did. And so the moment I remember that was so weird was after we won, there was like a little dinner dance, and Coach Spurrier's dancing with my sister. And I'm just like, wait a minute, this isn't how I know this guy.
Yeah.
But we've had many and continue to. I'm hoping to see him next week. I'm going through Gainesville, and maybe we'll get golf together. And every now and then he'll call me. He's like, "Hey, Danny, yep. Do you know how many points we averaged on home games in 1996? My goodness, what a run! All right, have a good day."
That's perfect. That's perfect. And that's a great impression. I know you've heard him so much. That actually sounds like Coach Spurrier. And I'm sure it's just an accumulation of a ton of work by both you guys and putting up a bunch of points. And I do, real quick, for our audience, want to talk about our newest sponsor, eBay. If it's the latest rare dead stock or the newest sneaker, they've got it. They've got an authenticity guarantee tag. They have professional authenticators that will check the box, verify the logo, everything you need. There is no trickery or anything. It's perfect. So if you get a chance, head over to ebay.com/sneakers and go ahead and cop a pair, because I know you guys want one. But Danny, I do, after you win the Heisman and all this stuff, Now I want to talk about what you're doing off the field, because it's way more important than anything that happens on the field in the grand scheme of it. And when did you start Desire Street Ministries? And can you kind of tell people really what that's about, what your goal is for it, and what you're trying to get out there message-wise?
Well, right out the gate, it's a little bit like being the quarterback. You kind of get more of the credit than you deserve. So I didn't start Desire Streets. We had our founder, Mo Leverett from Georgia, moved to New Orleans, and in the 9th Ward of New Orleans in the desired neighborhood in 1990 started an organization for youth with the goal of transforming the community with a dream of seeing other neighborhoods impacted as well. And so I came along in 1997. I was drafted by Mike Ditka and was in New Orleans, but I was kind of proactively looking for something to be involved in. My faith and the different things that I had grown to interpret my faith wasn't just about my own spirituality or my own heart, but about how to love your neighbors well, and especially those in need. And so I was looking and found this cool young organization called Desire Street. I started playing basketball with kids, doing some Bible studies, tutoring, but also was just deeply shaken to see the way people in our own country had to live in many cases, really for no other reason than what zip code they were born in. And so that was really troubling, and it kind of stirred up maybe some of those competitive parts of me that said, this isn't the way it should be. We need to do something. And so Desire Street primarily for years was focused on one neighborhood, started a school, housing program, job program, tutoring, medical clinic, church, just really neighborhood focused, and with the dream of moving to other places. And then kind of after I retired, I started working there full time. And then Hurricane Katrina hit and forced us to sort of think about, what does that look like, not just to serve in the 9th Ward of New Orleans, but in other places. So where we are now and what we do, our headquarters are in Atlanta. And what we found is in most neighborhoods, there's already some pretty amazing, heroic leaders doing great work. They just often don't have the resources, the connections, the training that they need to really see change in their neighborhood. So Desire Street is a resource now. We partner with leaders that live and serve in their neighborhoods, and we help them develop thriving and sustainable organizations. So all over the country now, we've helped start schools and medical clinics and housing programs and after all those sorts of things. And right now, our goal is to develop 20 thriving and sustainable urban ministries by 2025.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible, and that work obviously continues, like you talk about, and I'm sure you guys have seen the rewards and the fruits of your labor, and it just motivates you guys more. And also, you have the Wuerffel Trophy. Is that something can you tell our audience a little bit about that? Because again, you're a guy just like quarterback. You got to be able to know the coverage, be able to throw the ball, be able to take off when you're supposed to, stay in the pocket. You've got your hands on a lot of stuff. So please tell us about the Wuerffel Trophy.
About probably now 16 years ago, a group out of Florida came and said that they really wanted to create an award, not for how well someone played on the field, although that's great, but for citizenship, for community service. And I thought, well, that's a great idea. They wanted to name after me, and I was super humbled and honored. I did hesitate because there's a lot of awards out there, but the emeritus director of the Heisman finally told me, said, Danny, there's nothing really like this out there, and you could really inspire other people. And that kind of fit with my sort of personal mission of inspiring, more service and unity in the world. And so we launched this years ago, and it's been growing. And so basically the Wuerffel Trophy is a community service award for a college football player. And we had 100 nominees, and an incredible list of semifinalists and finalists, and pick a winner each year is really hard. And our hope is to tell their stories more and more over time, because it's truly inspiring the things that they're doing, and I think it makes us all better.
No, that's fantastic, and again, rewarding people for playing well off the field. We'll put it that way, and it's really smart. But Danny, as we're winding down here, we're here with former Florida star quarterback, Heisman winner, College Football Hall of Fame member. He basically won every award you can win. One of the first guys to actually win the Heisman and the national championship. It's been done a lot now, but Danny was one of the first guys to really do that. And you're winning another award. I know I keep talking about awards and accolades and stuff like this, but the Wooden Citizenship Cup, tell me how excited you are to get that. How did you get it? When did you find out?
Well, originally it was going to be last spring, and it got COVID.
Yeah, that's right.
COVID pushed back like a few things in our world, but you know, I've got a picture in my office that has a picture of me in a football uniform, playing on Florida, and it says, "When you look at your life so far and say, good start. Now what are you going to do?" Mm-hmm. You know, this idea that you can always look at what you've done in the past and sit on that if you've had some success, or are you going to use that to move forward? And one of the things is I love it when people refer back to the things I did as a football player, or if they ask me to sign something. Those things it's honoring, but more and more now people are coming up to me and saying, "Hey, we've seen the work that you've done, and it's inspired us to do something," or "We love the stuff you're doing with Desire Street or the Wuerffel Trophy." And that really means a lot to me. That brings a lot. And so this award is really honoring that part of my life, which I think is fantastic.
It's awesome.
And then also it gives us the opportunity to talk about good work, not just mine, but good work in general and what people are doing. And the world could definitely use a little more good work, kind people, unity bridge builders right now than not any other time in my lifetime.
I agree. I'm right there with you, and we all got to help each other out. But Danny, before I let you go, I got to ask you, we've had a few Steve Spurrier stories you've told me, but is there one that you can tell, obviously, that we can talk about on the show that kind of stands out? A funny one, maybe an intense one that you could tell, or maybe getting that fourth down and he jumps 10 feet in the air and you didn't think he could jump that high. What's kind of a story with Coach Spurrier that you just kind of chuckle at now?
Yeah. Well, the one earlier is probably my favorite. You know, it's not your fault. It's my fault for putting you in there. There was another one. We finished something up, and somebody asked him about how I did. He said, "Yeah, well, you know, Danny, he's not that talented. He's just highly coachable." So that was a funny one. You know, and he just, I tell you, the thing I would say to sum up him. Well, first of all, he's really funny. He's a really funny guy that I don't think everybody took care. But like, you know, some coaches are so precise, but unadaptable. Mm-hmm. And some coaches are so adaptable, but they're not precise enough. And I mean, he had, you couldn't just run a curl. I mean, the way he would coach the curl and the way the quarterback's head position had to be and the steps and the timing, it was so just incredibly precise that it was infuriating because you could never quite do it well enough. So there's that part of them. But then on the other time, you're like, "Hey, you know what? They're doing this. So you're the bottle cap. So instead of turning right, go down there and turn left, and then we'll score." And he could like adapt. And when I got to the NFL, I mean, some of those coaches would be like, "Well, you know, we haven't done a case study for 2 years on what would happen if we did that type of adjustment off of the flanker drive route. So we probably can't try that even in spring practice." It's like, it'll be open though.
Yeah, it'll work. I promise. I've done it a ton.
Balanced this ability to be incredibly precise with a lot of flexibility and having fun along the way. So definitely knowing and playing for him changed the trajectory of my life for sure.
Well, Danny, I appreciate you sharing that, man. Great stories, great stuff. You know, congratulations on all your success. And I know you're going to keep doing it and pushing it forward with the stuff that you do. And I know our audience really appreciates you joining us today. And we'd love to have you back on down the road, maybe talk some more coverage stuff. I know we could talk about that for a while. I know you could as well. Danny, before I let you go, I know there's some social media. Please tell everybody where they can find you. Tell everybody where they can find out information, websites, and if they want to get involved, how they can help.
Yep. Well, the quickest, easiest way is DannyWuerffel.com. Hardest part is spelling it, but if you can spell it, my website will link you to all the places. There's also Desire Street has a website, desirestreet.org and WuerffelTrophy.org. But there's always ways to connect, and I hope people check it out. And also, great job, Jake. You're really doing a good job with this. I'm really happy for you. You're really good at it, and I hope you have a lot of success.
Well, Danny, coming from a Heisman winner, man, I'm just trying to get like you. If there's a Heisman Trophy for the podcast, maybe I can win it one day. But, man, again, all the success to the world in you, man.
Thanks, man.
All right. I want to thank the audience as well. for tuning in. Make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Visit thejboyshow.com. It's been another edition of the Jboy Show. Jboy's going, gone. The Jboy Show is produced by David Cohn, technical director Dave Hammock, creative director David Culbertson, audio engineer Faison, production assistant Kyle Orr, and our executive producers Jake Crane, Vince Thompson, and of course we film at Melt Sports in Atlanta, GA. So come check us out.